How's it going, guys? Grimsie42 here, and I am back with week 6 of my continuing Garage Sale Chronicles. I was able to stop at 3 different sales, definitely found some really cool stuff, something that I have not seen in many, many years, and I actually got a few funny stories to go along with a couple of these sales too, so without further ado, let's jump in. Alright, so this first story is kind of funny, and I'll get to this sale first. Basically, it is another situation where the description of the sale looked to be very promising. Lately, just due to limited time, working a lot of overtime, I've been restricting myself primarily to sales that advertise video games in advance, and I know with that is going to come a lot of competition. So I do know that the early bird gets the worm. I try to keep my dignity with it, though. What I'll do is, like, if it's a really good sale, I'll get there an hour early. I'll just play, you know, a game on my phone app, and I'll wait till there's signs of life in the sale. I'm not going to go knock on somebody's door or something crazy like that. So I pulled up. I was a house back so that I'm not just sitting in front of the people's houses, the seller's house, whatever. And I'm playing on my phone. You know, and I'm noticing cars will zing by and slow down and then go, and then zing by and slow down and go, and like I'm seeing the same cars, so there's probably people, you know, doing the rounds and, you know, just swinging by. Well, anyways, the sale starts to open, and I walk up, and as I'm walking up, I notice a truck that had gone by like 3 times had pulled up, and I said, you know, hey ma'am, is there, you know, I know you're setting up, is there anything you need help with? And it was a mother and a daughter, and she was like, yeah, could you help us with these tables? So I moved some tables out, and basically the vultures, as I call them, kind of rolled up, and I knew where the video games were from moving the stuff. So right before they got to where the games were, I had just finished moving a table. I walked over to the games, and while moving tables, I'd already seen what I wanted, so I quickly built a pile. And they both walked up, and they kind of looked defeated, and they said, you know, are you planning on getting these or this or that? You know, and I said, well, I'm pretty much going to get everything in this pile here, and I'm going to look through the rest of these, you know, and if there's anything I'm not interested in, you know, you guys are welcome to them. And the one guy looks at the other and he goes, you know, is there anything, what do you think? And he was like, oh, let's just go. So they ran off to the next sale, and, you know, I'm not sure if they're collectors or resellers or a little of both or whatever, but it was nice to not only get to help the seller out, but to defeat them and get to the stuff first. So let me show you guys what I got. These first 2 games were priced at 50 cents. A copy of Wii Sports with no manual. And this one, which I've never seen before, it's actually a demo disc, but it's for DreamWorks, and it's got, I guess, 5 demos and trailers in it. So I've never seen this before. I'm not sure where it came from, but pretty cool to pick that up for the, you know, 50 cents. Then there were 5 Wii games, and these were all, I believe, $1 each. Every one of these are new to the collection also. First one is Call of Duty World at War. Next one is the Smurfs Dance Party. They'll definitely be getting some spins in my system. So will this one, Big Time Rush Dance Party. I guess that's like a band of whatever. Next one is EA Playground, including dodgeball. Looks to be a cool multi-game thing, so interesting. I've been looking for this last one here for a while, so I was really happy to get it. It's Namco Museum Remix, so it's like a graphical upgrades of classic games, so pretty cool. I always like when they do stuff like that. And then I also picked up 5 Xbox 360 games, so nothing amazing here, but I thought it was pretty cool. These were, I want to say 5 each, but at the end of the day, by helping her, being polite and everything, I managed to bundle it all. I got everything from this sale for 20 bucks. So 5 360 games, the 5 Wii games, and the 2 demo discs. I got all for 20, so I thought that was fair. It turns out that I think I paid like 15 for this pile then, basically, if my math is correct. First one is Batman Arkham Asylum. It's actually the only game I have yet to play in the series, not counting the newest one that just came out. I really, really, really liked the second one, which was Arkham City, I think. I think so. The second one in the series, the one that takes place in like Arkham City, that was the one that I really, really liked. So hopefully this one's good too. Never played this series, but I know a lot of people love it. Borderlands 2. kind of like a first-person shooter, post-apocalyptic RPG type of thing. Next one, can never go wrong with this game, Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Next one is a copy of Dark Souls. Really, really good, but really, really hard game. And if you guys have been watching my garage sale videos recently, I'm sure you can guess what the last one is. I run into it and drop it and throw it. That shows you how much I care. But I run into this game so frigging often. It's kind of like a common at this point. Another copy of Grand Theft Auto 5. So, I mean, I know this was like the best-selling game on the system and stuff, but just crazy how I keep running into this. Like, I found none last year, and this year I've already found 3 or 4. So, anyways, I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought that was a pretty successful sale, and it was really good to beat those guys to the punch, but that wasn't the last that I would see of them. We'll get to that later. So, next sale I went to that advertised they had video games. I think I got there a little bit early, and it wouldn't have mattered because their sale was like way let back. There were no signs. There were cars in the driveway. Like, you had to know. Like, if I didn't have my GPS, I would have drove right past it. But I did happen to like peek and see people like way back, so I checked out what they had, and I got a decent stack here. Looks like for 8 games. I want to say I paid $20 at this sale too, so everything I got here was 20 bucks. First one is a PS3 game, Alone in the Dark Inferno. And I know some of these are probably like a buck at GameStop and stuff, but some of them are definitely really good games. Like this one, for example, I already have, but I know it's a good game, so I figured I'd pick it up for good trade bait. Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Next 3 are a bit of a series. First one is Fear. No manual. Kind of poop. I don't know if I knew that when I bought it, but whatever. Next one has a cool slipcover. It's Fear 2 Project Origin. It's got like I said, it's got this cool slipcover here, and let's see if I can double disappoint myself. This one has a manual and some sort of insert, so that's cool. That kind of helps out a little bit. Next one is Fear Files, complete standalone expansion pack series. So apparently this guy really, oh, bonus. The manual for Fear was in there, so looks like I worked that out in the end anyway. So I will bundle those 2 back together. Definitely happy to reunite those. Saves me some hassle later. Next one is Red Faction Guerrilla. So I'm sure so far you guys are like, you know, what are you doing, Grimsie? These are all like $2 to $5 games. You paid 20 bucks for 8 games. You know, it's not that good of a deal. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not that much per game. Is my math correct? Is that 4 times 5 would be 20, like $3 a game-ish. Homefront, THQ. This one I don't think came with a manual, but there's definitely no manual in here. It has like a little insert, so I'll have to do some research, and if it did, then I'll pick one up cheap at GameStop and trade this one away. But the last game here is why I paid the 20. It's a sealed game, and it's got a cool foily cover. This game alone is probably worth the 20. It's BioShock 2. It's got the, like I said, foil cover, and it is still sealed, so for the 20 bucks, I don't think I got too bad of a deal there. I knew that the seller definitely knew what he had. He wasn't super willing to part with them at the price that I paid, but at the end of the day, you know, superior haggling to tightwads who don't want to come off prices typically will prevail as long as you're, you know, polite and everything. So now the last sale, and sale of the week anyways, and I will call this the Super Camped Out Sale of 2015. This sale advertised toys, Super Nintendo, Nintendo games, systems, PlayStation games, dollar games. Like, it had everything you would want if you were a video game collector to want to jump in on it. And funny, I realized when I pulled up to the house that I had been there the previous 2 years and that I picked up stuff. If you remember from, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, I picked up a blue N64 and I think an orange N64. I think I got 2 N64s off that guy. I don't remember exactly. I many years now, but I got there and I was like an hour early, and there was already 2 people there, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, like, this sucks. There's 2 people here already and I'm an hour early. Like, I'm gonna miss out on something good. 5 minutes after sitting there, because I was still contemplating, there was no sales other than this at this time, one of the 2 people pulled away. So I'm like, okay. And from previous sales, I know that he was somebody I see at sales, so he was definitely interested, and he would actually come back later. But the other person was just sitting there, and it got to be about 35 minutes before the sale was going to start, and the guy got out of his van, and he went and he knocked on the door, and that's something that I never do. You know, I just do not have the balls to do that. I've never had the balls to do that. I think it's really rude. But once I saw that he had gotten out of the car and knocked, and somebody came to the door, I went over there, you know, just to have an opportunity to get to something. And I went up to the guy, you know, and I kind of told him, I was like, you know, wow, it's pretty ballsy of you to go knock on somebody's door. And he was like, oh, you know, I know this guy's father. It was like some older dude. So I was a little less worried at this point, but I'm kind of confused because it was just toys, board games, video games. I'm like, well, what is he here for, you know? Tinker Toys or something? Or like, I don't know. Anyways, so the gentleman from the sale comes out, and I figure, you know, that as long as I'm quick with my scoping the situation, I should be able to grab something. Just then another collector that I know rolls up, really nice guy. He's got like a complete Dreamcast collection, some other stuff. He rolls up, so we're all chit-chatting while the guy's getting his garage open. The garage opens, we all go in. I remember the layout of his sale from the previous years, so I knew where the video games were, so I went right over to the video games, and I kind of had first dibs. Believe it or not, I only wound up buying 4 games. I do remember once I had gotten to this sale, he doesn't price his games cheaply. He has really good selection, but he wants like almost eBay price on a lot of stuff. But there were 2 Super Nintendo games that caught my eye, and then 2 PS1 games. Both the PS1 games were in the dollar bin, so I was not going to complain. The first one will be staying in the collection. It's a copy of Unholy War, and I guess it includes a Soul Reaver demo, and the disc is in like perfect condition. So for $1, whatever. This next one is in kind of like a Blockbuster case, and it only has like the cover of the instruction manual, and I'll actually take it out of it's kind of inside of the, but when you see what it is, you'll understand, hopefully. It's the cover for Dragon Ball GT Final Bout, and this game got re-released by Atari, but this is the Bandai release, and anyone who collects PS1 knows that back in the day, this was like a $100 game. It was the only Dragon Ball game available for the PlayStation 1 at the time, and it was made in extremely limited quantities because Dragon Ball had not caught on at that point. This was like 1990... see if I can find the date on this disc. I think it was like 97, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it looks like 1997. And the disc is definitely scratched up. I don't know if you can see it, but there's scratches all over it, and it's covered in Blockbuster stickers, but they only wanted $1 for it, and for the $1 I figured I would take a chance, because even though, like I said, they re-released this game later, Atari, like I said, did a port of it, the cover art is different, and this game is very, very difficult to find still. So I figure there's some Dragon Ball fan out there that would want this in their collection and be willing to pay more than the $1 I paid for it. So I took a chance. If I'm wrong, I paid $1. I don't care. Alright, I, last but not least, have 2 Super Nintendo games here, and these are both premium titles, not like super crazy, but they're definitely titles that people look for and people want. The first one I was able to get for, I actually bundled both of these with the 2 games, the PS1 games, and I paid $40 for everything. So these 2 games cost me $38. Definitely a ton for garage sales, but I think when you see the games, you'll understand that I'll probably get, you know, double that back in trade when I, you know, get rid of them. The first one is a really clean copy of Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And I want to say this is like a $35-ish game, so pretty much halfway to my goal at that point. And this one is definitely worth more than I paid for everything. It is a copy of Final Fantasy III. So to find Final Fantasy III, even at that price at a garage sale, was really, really cool. Super happy to pick that up. Glad to add it to the doubles pile. I'm actually going to Con Bravo at the end of this week. So good to have some awesome trade bait to bring with me, and that's really my intention with those. I'm going to bring those and, you know, see what happens. But anyways, guys, let me know what some of the stuff you have found this week are, and I appreciate you watching, sticking around to the end, and until next time, take care.